I got saved when I was 7 years old. I was privileged enough to go to a Christian school, so I heard about God and the Bible a lot. I was sitting in a classroom one day and my teacher was speaking about Nicodemus and how Jesus came to him at night and told him he needed to be born again. And I think that was the first time the Holy Spirit really spoke to me. And that's when I got saved. When I was 12, I rededicated my life to the Lord because I knew that I was saved, but I wasn't living as if He was the Lord of my life. Growing up in my house, I was always told that I wasn't going to be good enough for anything, and I wasn't skinny enough or pretty enough or talented enough or good at sports or anything really. And instead of turning to God to help me, I turned to cutting. I became really depressed and I had a lot of anxiety issues. I took matters into my own hands instead of turning to God. And it took me a really long time to realize that that wasn't what God wanted for me. Since we were created in His image, we're special, and He is the one who holds our identity. The world doesn't define us. I finally realized that since I am God's temple, I should be keeping it sacred, and hurting myself wasn't keeping God's temple sacred. That's when I started to rely on God more than myself. And I got a support system of friends, and a lot of people who are in my life now were there when all this was going on. My senior year, we had a girl in my class who died. And we were a small school, and when you have a class of 11 people, everybody's like family. It was really hard for me to trust that God had a plan for that, and to understand that He knew what He was doing. And I know that He had a plan for this, and even though it was a tragedy, He was going to turn it into something good. And He already has, and I'm sure that He will continue to do so. After that point, I kind of fell apart, because I had been dealing with my problems and stuff, but I wasn't dealing with it the way I should have been. And that's when I really gave it over to God, because I knew that I couldn't handle all of it myself, and that He was the only one that could handle it for me. Paul kind of dealt with the same thing, and he asked the Lord to take his problems away from him, but the Lord said He gave it to him for a reason. In 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, it says, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities than that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, and distresses for Christ's sake, for when I am weak, then I am strong." Joyce Meyer had an analogy in one of her books about cracked pots, and how if you put a light in a pot, it's not going to show. But if there are cracks in the pot, if there are infirmities and flaws, then the light can shine through. And that's what God has to do with us. He shines through our infirmities and our flaws, and that's how we glorify Him. Getting involved in church really helped me through the hard times in my life. Serving and not focusing on yourself is always a way that people recommend when you're going through depression. You know, depression is all about focusing on yourself, but when you serve others and you focus on others, and it helps you a lot through that. And there are tons of godly people in this church that I can turn to, and friends that I've made, and I have a great support system here.